Two bottle cages. Same shape. Same weight. One costs $4. The other costs $60. Cycling is full of moments like this, and most riders never stop to ask why. Your money is being split into two piles right now. One pile buys you something real. The other buys you a name. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 5 brands are taking more than they should, and which 5 are giving you exactly what you pay for. Robbing you or worth it? Pick one side, drop it below. In the 1980s and 90s, a few grams actually mattered. Professional racers were fighting for seconds across 100-mile stages, and tiny weight differences could decide a result. Brands poured money into shaving fractions of an ounce off every part. That research was expensive. The price reflected it. Riders watching those races wanted what the pros used. Buying the same brand felt like buying a piece of that performance. For a while, that connection was honest. The technology really did move from racing to retail. Then something shifted. By the 2000s, manufacturing tolerances improved across the board. A mid-range frame could match a flagship frame in stiffness, weight, and ride feel close enough that most riders couldn't tell the difference blind. Real engineering differences still existed, but they shrank, year after year, while the price gap stayed exactly where it was. Brands needed a new justification, and they found one. Sponsorship deals grew larger. Marketing budgets grew larger. The ride what the pros ride story kept running, even as the performance reason behind it quietly thinned out. What used to be a price built mostly on engineering became a price built increasingly on perception. Nobody announced the switch. It happened slowly, while riders kept paying close to the same premium for a smaller and smaller reason. Let's start with the brand where that gap has drifted furthest, and it's one almost every serious cyclist owns something from. If you've ever wondered whether your gear is worth what you paid, subscribe now, because what comes next will change how you look at your own bike. Specialized's S-Works tier sits at the top of the list. The frame often shares much of its design and manufacturing process with Specialized's mid-tier models. The jump in price often buys a premium carbon layup, a paint job, and roughly a pound less weight that most riders will never notice on a ride. Rafa tells a different story. Their jerseys can cost 3 to 4 times what comparable technical fabric costs from other brands. The fit and finish are genuinely good, but the price multiplier reflects branding far more than it reflects fabric technology. Then there's Zipp's flagship wheel sets. Independent testing repeatedly shows the aerodynamic gap between Zipp's top tier and their mid-tier wheels sits in single-digit watts. At a World Tour finish line, that matters. On a Tuesday group ride, it disappears completely. Pinarello belongs here too. Their Pro Team frames carry a premium tied directly to Tour de France visibility, yet Pinarello, like most major brands, builds across multiple factories that also produce far cheaper frames using overlapping techniques and materials. Finally, SRM power meters. For decades, SRM was the gold standard, and priced like it, often 2 to 3 times more than competitors. Independent testing now shows power meters from Stages, 4i, and others land within 1% or 2% of SRM's readings for most riders. The accuracy gap that justified the price has nearly closed, but the price hasn't moved with it. 5 examples. 1. Repeating pattern. The premium grows fastest exactly where the real-world difference shrinks the most. None of this means these products are bad. Specialized still makes excellent bikes. Rafa still makes excellent clothing. The question isn't quality, it's whether the price increase matches what changed. So what does a fair premium actually look like? 5 other brands charge more too, and almost nobody complains about it, because what they're selling isn't a story. Start with Shimano's mid-tier group sets, 105 and Ultegra. Walk into a bike shop in rural Portugal, Vietnam, or rural Montana, and the parts on the wall will almost certainly fit. That kind of global availability, built over decades, becomes priceless the moment something breaks far from home. Then there's Park Tool. Some of their wrenches hanging in shops today were bought before carbon fiber bikes even existed, and they still turn bolts exactly the way they did on day one. Buy once, hand it down. Continental's top-tier road tires cost more upfront, but riders who switch often go from one flat a month to an entire season without a single puncture. The price difference disappears the first time it saves a ride. Brooks leather saddles feel stiff and unfamiliar for the first few hundred miles. Then the leather molds permanently to the rider, and it's common to meet cyclists still riding the same Brooks saddle 15 years later, more comfortable than the day they bought it. Finally, Ortlieb panniers. Ask any cyclist who's been caught in a genuine multi-day downpour with a cheap bag and an Ortlieb side by side. Only one of them came out the other end with dry clothes and a working phone. 5 brands. One thread connecting them. Every premium here buys something measurable, proven by riders who've tested that promise against time, weather, and distance. That's the real dividing line in this entire debate. It was never expensive versus cheap. It was always whether your money buys durability or buys a story. The brands from Part 3 aren't charging too much because their products are bad. They're charging too much because the story sells better than the manufacturing difference would. The brands in this part don't need a story. Years on the road tell it for them. That $60 bottle cage from the start of this video isn't lying to you. It's just telling you a story instead of a spec. 5 brands sell stories. 5 brands let the years speak for them. Comment which brand surprised you most.